In this lesson, I'll be teaching you a relatively easy way to reduce skin discoloration, age spots, or ruddy skin. It's pretty fast and it's simple. Let me show you how. So I still have open my blemishes and wrinkles background from the last lesson. So I'm going to right-click on those and merge the layers. Next, I'm going to go into Image, then Mode, and then to CMYK Color. Just press OK. Next, go into your channels, and you'll see you have cayenne, magenta, yellow, and black. So what I like to do is select each layer to see which one has the most skin discoloration. To me, the yellow channel doesn't look so bad. It's pretty even, but there's a bit of ruddiness in his skin. So I'm going to select the magenta channel. You'll copy the magenta channel by pressing Control or Command A, and then Control C to copy the layer. Next, press Control Alt Z until you're back to the RGB color. Select Layers, and then Control V to paste your magenta layer in. Absolutely terrifying. Okay, so double click on layer 1, and we're going to name this layer Even Skin. It doesn't seem like that's what it is, but we'll get there. With this layer selected, press Control and I to invert the layer. And I know what you're thinking, this really doesn't look any better. What is Chelsea telling us to do? But you're going to go here to Soft Light, and then you'll see that you get this really soft, ethereal looking picture. It still looks pretty creepy. It will get better because you're going to select the layer mask here. Click on your layer mask, do Control I again, and then we'll blend all of that smooth skin into his natural skin, and it's going to look great. So use your paintbrush and paint it in. So I'm going to press Control plus so that you can see what I'm doing. You can see that it just gets rid of some of the redness. I'm going to raise my opacity to 50% and make my brush a bit bigger. Okay, so once again, he looks a little bit unnatural, and the way that you will remedy this is by going to opacity right here and just sliding the slider down until you think it looks natural. So we have before and then after, and I think that he looks best somewhere in the middle, around 40%. If there are still areas that are discolored, like in my picture, he still has some redness around his eyes and in his chin, then you can continue with the next method, which will help you kind of fine-tune evening out the skin. So select the background and even skin layer, and then let's convert it to a smart object. So you'll have all of your progress and you can go back. So now that you've converted those two layers to a smart object, deselect the layer by just clicking in this empty area, and then right-click and select Solid Color. You can click OK, and with this layer selected, press Control or Command J 3 times to make 3 different color layers. The first one I'm going to have you name Cheeks. The second one you can name Neutral. And the third one you can name, I'll name this one Beard. And you know what? I'm actually going to make a fourth one and with Control J again. And I'm going to name this one Teeth, because you can change the color of the teeth. There are several different ways to do it, but I figure let's get it over with now. And you're probably thinking, what's all this blue? So let's change that. So first select each layer mask separately and press Ctrl I to invert it. So the first one, second one, and so on. And now we can see through. Next, you're going to change the color that you want their skin to be. So let's start at the cheeks, and you'll double click on the color. And then using this eyedropper tool, select the color that you think that your subject's cheeks should be. So I'm going to use his own natural coloring to get a natural color. Just kind of hunt around and look for something rosy. Okay. Next, for neutral, that would be the color that you'd want the rest of his face to be. I'll double click, and then I'm going to use maybe up here where it doesn't look rosy or red, or down here where it just looks peach. For his teeth, I'll just use completely white. And for his beard, there's some ruddiness right here in his beard, and I want it to be this nice brown color that you get when you can see through a man's beard. So I'll select right there. Let's do his beard first. Select your layer mask, make sure that your paintbrush is selected and that you're on the color white, and then you can color it in. So that's a bit heavy, so I'm going to press Ctrl Z and undo it and then lower my opacity. So this is looking way too bright, so I'm going to undo this and lower the opacity even more. So that looks good for his beard to me. Next, I'm going to do his cheeks. And make sure that you have the layer mask selected, not just your layer. And I'll do the same thing. I'm going to make my brush a little bigger. And that just smooths out the colors in his cheeks a bit. Next, I'll go to neutral for the rest of his face. And get his forehead, the top of his nose. And I'll get under his eyes as well with the neutral color. I'll have to zoom in to make sure that I get around his eyes but not in his eyes. Now I know that this looks really strong, but what we're going to do next is just reduce the opacity in the entire layer. So let's start with the cheeks layer. It's at 100%. Let's go down to about 43. With the neutral layer, we'll do the same thing. And with the beard layer, still the same thing. And that smooths out his coloring a bit without looking unnatural. And lastly, we'll do his teeth. We'll whiten them. So zoom in on the teeth. Make sure you have a small brush selected, and then just paint over them. And I'm going to put my opacity all the way up to 100% so I can see what I'm doing, even though it looks unnatural. And now I'll lower the opacity to about 20%. I think I'll lower it even more. It's still pretty white. There you go. And now we can see a before and an after. And if you think that it looks unnatural, I think it does look a little bit unnatural. I like to go back and just lower everything a bit more. I thought the neutral color was a bit strong. I think his beard color and his teeth color is okay. So I've adjusted my layers even more. I've lowered the opacity, and I think that he looks natural and he looks good. If you feel like you have to go back to the wrinkles layer that we were on before and you want to undo your smart object, just double click on it it will open it up in a separate tab, and then you can select the 2 layers and drag them back into your other document to start playing with them and playing with your layer mask again.